thank you for joining in. We have got the sales report of most automakers, and the wholesales during the month of May is kind of moving at a different pace for various segments. To understand the why and how of this, we have with us a panel of experts here. Kinjal Shah, Senior Vice President and Co-Group Head, Corporate Ratings, ICRA. Amit Kaushik, Managing Director of Urban Science. Manish Ratsinghania, President of Federation of Automobile Dealers Association. Thank you for giving us your time. I would like to begin with the passenger vehicle segment. We learned in the beginning of the year that the industry largely has a single-digit growth estimate for the year on a high base of last 2 years. For May, the industry estimates suggest a growth of about 4% in its wholesales to 3.5 lakh unit. However, the top 3 car makers have reported a muted single-digit growth on a year-on-year basis in May. What we have learned is that the pent-up demand no longer exists, but there is a narrative building up on the inventory situation. I would like to start with Mr. Singhania here. How do you see the inventory with the dealers shaping up? Is it at a manageable level, or the industry needs to be concerned?
So unless until we don't have the complete wholesale and retail figures for the month of May, we would not be very, accurately able to comment about the overall inventory. But what we have seen in the month of April, the inventory had definitely gone up to 45 days. And as dealer fraternity, we always advocate for the inventory level of 30 days, idle inventory level. Anything beyond that, the dealership is bound to lose money. So we have been repeatedly lobbying with OEMs and SIAM that inventory level, idle inventory level should be at a crisp 30 days. So dealers are comfortable and we are able to service the demand of the consumer rather than unnecessarily building up stocks at the dealership.
Okay. And talking about the walk-ins and inquiry levels for the last month, how has it been?
The heat wave definitely hampered the walk-in severely. And as per our assessment, close to 15 to 16% drop was there in walk-ins. And walk-in inquiries are very critical for an auto dealership because the maximum conversion that we get to retail is on walk-in. And these walk-in are the customers who are willingly coming to the showroom after doing all their analysis and understanding of various products. And they want to have a test drive or touch and feel about the product. That's why they come into the showroom, visit the showroom for closure of sales. So yes, heatwave has definitely hampered. What dealerships fraternity has done, we have emphasized more on home test drives, and we are trying to attend customers at the comfort of their home or offices wherever they require, so that we don't lose on sales as such. But yes, definitely walk-ins were down in the month of May. Heatwave combined with elections both have hampered the walk-in and retail of the passenger car segment. Two-wheeler segment definitely benefits from the election spend that happens during the election period. But passenger vehicle, due to heat wave and elections, both the retails of passenger vehicles are definitely hampers, especially when you are not able to carry even a small amount of cash. Brings you in the eye of the police, local police or something like that. So the customers don't want that harassment to happen, and they keep on reading on newspaper, and that acts as a deterrent. So we definitely expect post-elections and cooling of this. We are seeing the arrival of monsoons. So definitely post-elections, we'll see a jump in retails and inquiry at the dealership.
Okay, got it. Coming to you, Mr. Kaushik, how have you seen the wholesales and the retails moving up for the last month? Has there been a gap or are they in line?
So just to build in on what Mr. Singhania said, there has been issues that is coming from blistering heats, elections that he has already identified. But beside the fact, I think the key factors that are actually entering also pre-monsoon effect. And also some of the auspicious days that was not there during the May of 2024 in comparison with 2023. So there was a, I would say, decline of roughly, because if we compare 2023 and 2024, there was 13, 14 auspicious days that was been good for marriages and everything. So that demand has been actually in a way during 2024. So that's been one of the key deterrent as well. Beside the fact, of course, the ongoing, I would say, the holiday period that has been, keeping away the targeted audiences from coming to the showrooms, and they might be on vacations or something like that. All that has impacted on the stock market, which has been muted so far. Today, it has been bounced back really, really good. But putting all these things all together, there has been a significant, I would say, drop in terms of, I would say, walk-ins, and then coming into the real, I would say, muted sales. And of course, if we look at the real registration numbers, that's been really, really, I think, I would say, alarming. Roughly 11% a decline in terms of registration volumes in comparison between on month. So that has been the situation overall.
Yeah, we have also seen the discounting happening on and off. Like it has been a flavor for the last few months. How do you see that building up when the sales are already muted?
There has been some models that has been getting older and everything. There has been a discounting, I would say, war in market because of the pent up, I would say, inventories within the market. We have seen inventory levels going up that Mr. Singhania also identified. That has been putting a lot of pressure to, I would say, pump out the built-in, I would say, inventory, which impacts the ultimate profitability at the dealership level. There has been some, I would say, decisions from bankers as well to revise the, I would say, payouts to the dealers in terms of sales and everything. So that is also putting up a lot of pressure on the dealers to, further, I would say, pass on this further, out of pocket discounts. That is impacting the profitability in a big way. I definitely foresee, during these, I would say, between May to June, definitely June is going to be a little bit better, but there is going to be ultimately, again, the monsoon effect and everything as well. So we definitely see, a betterment coming in not before than August, a decent betterment, if I say that. And post that, I would say we see a, I would say, a stable demand on the solid fundamentals that are there in the market.
Right, I'll just come back to that. Moving on to the commercial vehicle segment, Kinjal, I would like to come back to start with you. Like we've got the wholesale numbers from Tata Motors, Ashok Leyland, Mahindra, and most have reported the year-on-year growth. So help us understand the demand drivers here. I ask this because there were also concerns about demand staggering due to the election season in the country, the infrastructure projects being paused. So have you seen a direct impact of the election season on the commercial vehicle demand here?
Yeah, so you rightly said, Anderson. May we have seen, I think, overall wholesale volumes grow by around 3% for the commercial vehicle industry on a YY basis. Obviously, that also comes on a high growth in April. April, we saw around 14% odd YY growth. That was largely to do with some of the deferment of the purchases from March to April, because many of the OEMs were not yet available with the OBD2 inventory as a whole. So we did see some growth on a YY basis in May. But that said, the overall volume growth has still been much subdued because of the perceived slowdown in the infrastructure activity. So the demand for the commercial vehicles majorly comes from the infrastructure sector, and that does see some kind of slowdown during the election period. So we, as the NICRA, expect that H1 FY25 for the commercial vehicle industry will definitely be quite muted overall. And H2 is when we will start seeing the growth momentum pick up again.
Okay. And moving to the sub-segments, the light commercial vehicles have been doing better than the heavy commercial vehicles. Does your estimate remain the same for both the segments, or how does it move?
As of now, yes, our estimates remain the same, as we have said that the light commercial vehicles would see a decline of around 5 to 8% in FY25, and the heavy commercial vehicles would see a decline of around 4 to 7% in FY25. That again stems from the fact that we expect that H2 would be much better for the infrastructure spending and activities, which obviously is the key demand driver for the heavy commercial vehicle segments. As far as light commercial vehicle segments is concerned, we saw decline even in FY24. That was primarily because of some slowdown in the e-commerce activities that have been witnessed, and also some kind of cannibalization from the E3 wheelers. So overall, we expect that the light commercial vehicle would see a higher slowdown compared to the medium and heavy commercial vehicles.
Got it. Got it. Coming to the two-wheeler segment, the domestic wholesales for the top two-wheeler OEMs have seen a year-on-year drop. Some OEMs have also reported a growth, but the top ones have reported a decline. But we have learned that the rural market is picking up, and in the coming months, you also mentioned that the monsoon prediction is good for this year. Mr. Singhani, considering all these factors, how do you see the momentum in the two-wheelers building up? Do you expect the retails to also follow the trend as the wholesales here?
So yes, post-COVID, two-wheeler industry has been struggling and dealers have been, at great pains. We are not getting the adequate numbers. But since last September, we have been seeing a consistent delivery and performance of the two-wheeler industry. In the total growth story that India was seeing, the Bharat of India on the rural market was left behind. It was not able to cope due to heavy losses in terms of employment, in terms of expenses during COVID. But with consistent good crop and good government spend in rural India, that seems to be recovering now. And since last September, consistently, two-wheeler industries has been growing. In fact, in the month of April, on a YOY basis, two-wheeler industry grew by almost 33%. So I think that, and with the expectation of good monsoons this year and the kind of rural spend that and an increasing MSP, minimum support price that the government is taking a call on. So all this will definitely get good quality and quantity of crop, and this will increase the fund flow in the rural India. The high end of the two-wheeler segment has been doing pretty well. We have got a lot of bookings and waiting periods are still there. But the low end, the entry-level two-wheeler segment was lagging behind. But it has been delivering well for the past 6 to 8 months. And we hope this month also, in the month of May, two-wheeler industry on a YOY basis will definitely grow. And with good advent of good monsoon and good crops, I think this industry, entry-level performance, everything will have a good show during this financial year.
Yeah, but are we also seeing some kind of an inventory buildup in the two-wheeler segment, or it's all
No,
fine?
two-wheeler like in car, we have a 45 days inventory.
Yeah,
Two-wheeler inventory is hardly at 10-15 days. In fact,
not even for the entry
dealers
level,
are cribbing about vehicle. They need supply of vehicles.
right? Not even for the entry level, right?
Yeah, I mean, on an average, the inventory level, total inventory level of two-wheeler is at 10 to 15 days only.
Okay, okay. Got it. Coming to you, Mr. Kaushik, you mentioned that, we can only see better sales for the passenger vehicles coming back in August. What are the major setbacks for June and July?
So during June and July, what definitely we foresee is there is an inventory which is lying in market. So that has to be, I would say, first of all, that has to be cleared. And there will be some, I would say, definitely there are a couple of products lined up by different OEMs. But if you look at the real, I would say, the real inventory which is lying there in market is actually more than 45 days. So if you compare those numbers, actually, which has been, kind of wholesales and the retail, there is a significant gap. Even just top five, I would say, the OEMs actually contributes roughly 40 odd thousand, difference between the current month itself. Putting those things in perspective, Maruti has declined the entry level pricing for some of their vehicles. So that will bring in some demand, some cheer up. Elections are over, so definitely there will be some, I would say, positivity coming out of it. But during monsoon, if you look at the seasonalities, during monsoon, there is an effect. So people do, kind of avoid those purchases, and people do actually wait for those, I would say, new products coming in during the festive seasons, and which is generally, planned during the beginning of August or late part of July this year. So that was the key reason we were just talking about, that the product effect, that monsoon effect, and those overall inventory effect will ultimately have, again, a muted, I would say, overall behavior for both June and July as well.
Right. I would just want to ask you one thing here. You mentioned about the discounts that the Maruti is offering. I was just coming to that. So how do you see those panning out? What you have been tracking the industry for so long. How do you see? Do you see that these discounts could bring up the sales for the small cars there? Is there a demand for them?
So there is a positive sentiments that is emerging now, Shubhangi, if we look at the overall things. So today, after those exit polls, I think there has been a strong bounce back at the stock levels. The stock market has been, bounced back very, very strongly. There is an expectation to have a stable government at the central level. So these two things fundamentally will support the overall industry. And on top of that, the overall buyer behavior will support when the pricing has come down. So we definitely will see some traction coming in those I would say entry level segments because of that pricing discount that has been offered by Maruti. So definitely it will support a bit. I won't say it's going to be a huge difference maker, because still I think there is a favoritism which is going up towards the higher segments and everything from the consumer behavior perspective. So yes, but there is going to be a difference for sure. It is going to be a positive thing for Maruti Suzuki.
Right. Talking of EVs, Mr. Singhania, could you share with us the momentum that you might have seen on the electric two-wheeler front here?
We definitely saw a huge drop in EV two-wheeler penetration in the month of April because we were hovering around 5-6%. That went down to 3.5%. And with lower subsidy support right now, the industry is waiting for FAME 3 subsidy. I think eventually the new government, whichever comes into power, they will eventually roll out the FAME 3 subsidy. And for now, the EV segment, two-wheeler segment, though the consumer has definitely understood the advantages or nuisances of electric two-wheeler, but still it requires subsidy support because of the price difference between the ICE vehicle and EV two-wheeler. What would be very critical in coming years, how legacy players are launching their EV two-wheelers, because they have got the penetration in the market, they have got the service network available for the consumers. Everything is available. The brand loyalty is there. People can relate to the brand, and all these legacy players come up with their own range of EV two-wheelers that will definitely increase the penetration of EV two-wheeler in coming years.
Right. Kinjal, just one thing I want to check with you. We have been talking of fuel technologies in the passenger vehicle segment, electrics in the two-wheeler segment. For the commercial vehicle segment, how do you see the fuel technology shaping up? Because a lot of OEMs have experimented, showcased at different expos. How do you see that turning up for this year?
See, for the commercial vehicle segment, unlike the passenger vehicle segment and two-wheeler segment, the penetration of alternate fuel technologies is very low, though it is picking up. I think buses is one of the segment in the commercial vehicle segment that has seen the highest penetration of the alternate fuel technology. With the penetration of electric buses in the overall buses segment at 7% in FY 2024. LCV was at minuscule 1%. The electric penetration. But yes, we are seeing a lot of focus on the alternate fuel penetration in the CV segment. E-buses, in our view, will continue to gain momentum, especially because of the entire gross cost contract model, wherein the buses are being bid under the tender issued by CESL. And now we also have the payment security mechanism built in for new tenders, which is coming up. This was one of the concern areas which was being witnessed earlier in the erstwhile orders of CESL. But now with the payment security mechanism coming up, we are definitely going to see a lot of potential for electric buses, and we expect the penetration to rise significantly in e-buses to around 30% by FY 30. On the LCV segment, we expect that the penetration would start ramping up shortly. It could either be electric. We are also seeing the hydrogen ICE vehicles also coming in. We yet have to see any demonstration of that in the Indian scenario, but there are efforts made towards introduction of that engine as well. Medium and commercial vehicles is the segment where we see that it will be the least or it will be the last in terms of the adoption of the alternate fuel technology.
So thank you. Just one last thing, if you have to say, give a outlook for the entire year. Like, how would you say, Mr. Kaushik? I'll start with you for the passenger vehicle. Then we'll come to Mr. Singhania for the two-wheelers and Kinjal for the commercial vehicle segment. Just one line about the outlook for the entire year.
So one line for the entire year towards passenger vehicle, I will still say it is going to be a single-digit outlook from our end. Towards EVs, four-wheelers, there are challenges that need to be sorted out. And there are challenges towards product, towards infra, and many other things. So we definitely see some level of tractions coming in coming future, but there are challenges still, yeah.
So do you say a lower digit or a high digit, kind of a single digit?
Single digit again, yeah.
Okay. So moving to Mr. Singhania, like, how do you see the two-wheelers shaping up?
So, as I already quoted, since last September, two-wheeler has been really moving forward, and we are definitely seeing contribution from Bharat of India, that is the rural India, coming up in the two-wheeler fray. So, for me, and also for the entry-level segment also picking up, and with the good advent of good monsoon, we are having Diwali and Dussehra both, Navratra and Diwali both in a single month. So it's going to be a huge show. I think double-digit growth for the complete financial year. That is what two-wheeler is looking for. Dealers are also at a very comfortable inventory level. So there's a huge scope there also. And I think this segment would be to look forward for this financial year.
And how do you see the commercial vehicle segment, Kinjal?
We expect the domestic CV industry to witness a decline of around 4 to 7% in volumes in FY25. Within the sub-segments, the M&HCV segment is expected to witness a similar decline of 4 to 7%. The LCV segment, we expect to see a decline of around 5 to 8%. That is again a multiplication or a factor of the expected slowdown in the construction activities in H1, the cannibalization from E3-wheelers, the weakening credit profile of the buyers of LCV, and the high base effect. Buses would be one segment within the CV industry, which would see a growth of around 2 to 5%, primarily because of the replacement demand and also some kind of benefit coming in from the scrappage policy.
Okay, got it, got it. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for joining in and giving us your time today. Thank you.
Thank you, Shubhangi.
Thank you so much, Shubhangi. Thank you.